Hello everyone. So today I'll be discussing a short topic about drainage in tunnels. We have seen in our previous discussions a lot of time that you are going to encounter some amount of groundwater when you go on with the excavation, or even if you don't encounter that groundwater during excavation, you might definitely encounter it when once there is the tunnel is fully operational, and then you have some downpour of water in the form of precipitation, rainfall, or even a snowfall, which then during the thawing period it melts and then seeps into the ground. So in any case, there is going to be ingress of water inside your tunnel. You have to be sure about it, or not sure, I'll say you can be very sure about it. So the thing is that now we have to tackle with this water that we have intercepted while excavation or while the operation phase of your tunnel. So we can't just simply rely that okay, now you are not encountered any water during excavation, so you'll not encounter it in the later stage as well during operation, and if it encounters, then we'll plan for it accordingly afterwards. So you can't do like that. During the design phase itself, during the construction phase itself, you have to provide all the facilities so that if there is an ingress of water in the operation phase as well, then too you can mitigate it properly, and there is no need for providing any extra or reworking on the tunnel afterwards once it's operational. Okay. So why do you need drainage in a tunnel? So instead of showing this theory, I'll directly go to the some photographs which I have taken from a document which I found very interesting on this website of French Tunnel Association and Underground Space. So in that one of the documents, they have enlisted all the reasons that can be seen to provide a good drainage. So first of all, the first photograph on the top left, what you see, it's the building up of ice inside a tunnel. Okay, so this might not be a very familiar case in Indian condition, but obviously it is seen if you don't mitigate this, or if you don't provide a proper channel to this groundwater. So during your extreme winter season, it will be converted to, or it will be solidified to ice, and then it will develop some pressure, and through that it can come up into your uh, through the linings of your tunnel and also through the invert level. Okay. Another thing, in the photograph 2 on the bottom left, if you see, so it is actually a photograph of a failed lining. So the concrete lining, it has been failed because you can see a gush of water, underground water, which is falling out of this lining. Okay, so this is something that was not mitigated during the design phase, and due to that the lining failed, and ultimately the tunnel had to be closed for duration and then again worked upon. Another thing that is again very peculiar, or mostly found in lot of tunnels, is the seepage which goes or which oozes out of the uh, joints in the lining. So lining, if it's a concrete lining, so generally it's monolithic, but if you have your lining fixed in the form of a panels, precasted panels, so in that case it might also happen that there is seepage from the joints if they are not well maintained. So there is seepage because you have not provided any alternative path or a drainage to your tunnel. So due to that, this seepage comes into the working area of a tunnel. Another thing or problem that drainage crops up is this figure number 4 that you can see. In case of railway, it corrodes your rails because if you don't provide proper drainage, the water will be there in the tunnel itself on the invert level. And then if it's on railway, so you know that rails are made up of steel and alloys of steel, but in presence of water for a longer duration, it will corrode ultimately. So improper drainage will result in destruction of your other infrastructure properties or infrastructural components which you are providing inside the tunnel. Then the fifth photograph, what you see bottom left, again it's an example that your lining, it has got corroded due to the chemical action. So here what you see, this tunnel in figure number 5, so it's basically an elliptical tunnel, elliptical X shape you can say, which is used for carrying some sewage. So you can see some pipeline also over here. So the corrosion and the chemical action, it has failed. Due to that, the invert has failed. So there is some bulging kind of thing in your invert level. Okay. So instead of being a flat level or some curve like this, so it has bulged upside. And the last photograph on your right side, extreme right, photograph number 6. So here you can see, so there is again a seepage through different sections of your lining, and that seepage has filled the drain. So this is the drain that is provided, but that drain has proved to be insufficient, and then the water or whatever is the seepage, it is coming onto your road as well. So now all these photographs depict that drainage, providing drainage, it is very important in case of tunnels, because again, if it's an open road, okay, if I talk about that improper drainage on open road, so again your roads during rainy season, they are flooded with water, and then the water uh, recedes after a few days at least. Even if there is a flooding kind of situation, so after the flood recedes, the water, it just goes to the adjoining area, and then your road can be utilized. But this can't be the situation in your tunnels, because tunnels, they are underground, underneath. So obviously they have very limited access points. You have just one exit, one entry, or maybe in case of a pilot tunnel or a service tunnel, you might have multiple entry points, but then too, they are limited. So we can't rely that okay, even if they are flooded, the flood will recede automatically and then your tunnel will be open. Okay. Because the first the tunnel that you have constructed in the first case, it was to overcome some obstruction. It was some hill or some under or some water body that you went beneath, and then you constructed the tunnel. So if you are saying that due to drainage issues, it will be flooded and you have to close that tunnel for a few days, then it defeats that prime purpose itself. Okay. So that's why there is an importance to this drainage in tunnels, and this can be achieved through a lot of ways. The most basic technique is the temporary ones, in which you have an open ditch drainage system or a pumping system. Now both the thing you can relate it to our discussion in unit number 3 when we were discussing dewatering techniques in our construction techniques. So there we have seen both of this thing, that you have a open sump or you have pumping techniques to dewater your excavated area. Similar to that, during the temporary arrangement for drainage, temporary as in it's not that kind of temporary, but this temporary is only during the construction phase. Okay. So during construction, whatever is the drilling bits that you use, so it may be a TBM or it may be a normal drilling machine, but whatever are the drill bits, you never use your drill bits just like that into the ground. You always have to pull down that drill bits so that they don't get damaged. So in that process, we purposefully are uh, using water into our system while drilling, so that creates a lot of mud and slurry, which again you have to deal with. So during that phase, during that construction phase, this temporary drainage comes handy. So either you provide an open ditch as in whatever is your tunnel which you are planning to do or excavate, so you have a temporary ditch over here which you can convert it later to permanent, or you can fill it later, and then through this ditches, then water will be collected and it will be taken to the ends of your tunnel. Another thing that you can have is, instead of, if you don't want a ditch, if the length of your tunnel is great, of a larger magnitude, so instead of constructing a continuous ditch for tens and twenties of kilometer, you can just install the pumping system, and then using the pilot tunnels, the shafts and the ends of your tunnels, you can pump out the water. Okay. So pumping nowadays it is preferred because there are advancements in this pumping system as well. Nowadays you have huge pumps, centrifugal pumps and suction pumps which can be used to drain out the water effectively and speedily as well. And another way to control your drainage or to channel your drainage properly is a permanent solution. Okay. Now this permanent is from the name itself that it will be there throughout the service life of your tunnel. So that's why it's permanent drainage. And again, there are a lot of ways in which this permanent drainage can be provided. So either you can have a central drain or a side drain or a side drain along with an iron shield. Now, what is this? So instead of showing you or going through the theory, I thought about showing you just the images so that it will give you a better idea that what I'm talking about permanent drainage. Okay. So before we move on to the photographs, just a quick small tree diagram that I have for you. So if I talk about the waterproofing systems, mainly for tunnels, so I can divide it into two parts or two types. One is pressure resistance. So whatever is the pressure which is generated with this water and groundwater. So either I build a system or I prepare my tunnel in such a way that this pressure is resisted. Or if I don't want to resist that pressure, if I want that water to be collected somewhere and then taken out, then I'll go to the second type of system, that is water conducting system. Okay. So pressure resistance, from the name itself you can derive what it does is it resists the pressure. So if say the flow of your groundwater is very less, it's just a periodic one just for 1 month or so, and that 1 month also the seepage is very less. Okay. So whatever is the pressure developed, I don't need to take out that water and then throw it somewhere outside the tunnel alignment. But what I need to do is just in that case I need to resist that pressure for that period of 1 month or so, whatever is the period of your water groundwater, and then my tunnel will be safe from the damage of this groundwater. But if suppose the flow is quite of a greater magnitude, say it's a monsoon season, the country in which you are excavating or you have planned to excavate this tunnel. So that suppose let's take an example of India itself. So in India, you have monsoon for almost 4 months, and then during monsoon, especially the groundwater tables they increase to a very higher value, and then due to that you have a lot of water flow in the groundwater as well. So if you have that kind of a system, then it's always better to, instead of going for a pressure resistance, then it is very right thing to do that you collect that water, groundwater, and then you dispose it off somewhere outside the alignment of the tunnel. Okay. So then that goes into this second category, that is water conducting system. So for water conducting system, you can have a normal drainage like a road drainage or a membrane with drainage. So we'll look into this, what is membrane with drainage. Another thing that you can have in pressure resistance is that again a full round membrane, that is if you have a tunnel, say circular tunnel, so you just provide a thin membrane which is capable enough of withstanding the pressure of the water if it comes from any direction. Okay, so there is no need of collecting the water, the membrane itself it will resist the pressure. Or you go for a watertight concrete, but this too theoretically it sounds very possible, watertight concrete, but in actual case it is very difficult because concrete, you all know that whenever you do mass concreting, due to that heat of hydration, uh, even if you use that low heat cement or low heat of hydration cement, then too there are some micro cracks in your concrete when it starts to harden, okay, in spite of your curing and all that. So that's why this watertight concrete is very difficult to achieve in practice. And another thing is injections. So injections are nothing but ingress of different types of chemicals into your excavated phase so that it becomes watertight and then it resists the pressure. So what I'm going to show you is just some photographs and some combination of drawings in which you'll come to know that what kind of drainage systems is provided. So this is a drawing from a tunnel project. Okay, so Haven Pass tunnel project. So in this, if you mainly see what they have provided is they have provided a concrete lining which is the innermost this side or this much part. This is the concrete lining, and if we go towards the earth side, okay, so above this concrete lining you also have a waterproof membrane. Okay, so this waterproof membrane, it will, whatever is the attack of groundwater, if it is there, so this membrane or that water, it will just roll over this membrane and it will not go through and penetrate into the lining. Okay, and for this water which will flow over your membrane, so for that you can see at the edges you have some drains provided. Okay, so these are the tunnel side drains, and then in the center as well you have the main sub drainage, which is a perforated pipe. So these three pipes or the outlets, you can say, will collect the water whatever is the seepage in the case of this tunnel. So that will be collected and then it will be disposed of at the openings of your tunnel. Okay, so this is one way in which you can provide the drainage system for a tunnel. Another image what you see here, a drawing, again you can see there are pipes which are provided at the ends, so those are for the efficient drainage of your tunnel. Now here what you see in the next few photographs, what you will be seeing is you will be seeing a combination of a photograph and a drawing. So you will be having a photograph on the left side and the drawing on the right side, and in your drawing some part will be highlighted with some color. So here you can see this is a horseshoe shaped tunnel, and at the base you can see this brown color block kind of thing. Okay, so this brown color block kind of thing is nothing but this actual photograph on your left side. So it's nothing but a concrete pedestal type of thing that is created, and if you see the distance, so it is not just next to the lining, but there is some gap between the face of this pedestal and the membrane that is provided. So in between this gap, whatever is the gap over here, so here your drain pipes will be installed. Okay, so in this photograph you can see just the construction of concrete pedestal going on, and here now this concrete pedestal has been constructed. You can see the formwork is also removed, and now what you see here is this green colored portion that is highlighted over here. So the pipes, they are laid in such a way, so this is the perforated pipe which is laid, and over which a single grain concrete as in just one size aggregates are used, so that it acts as a perforation bed, and whatever is the water or seepage, it goes through this and then it goes through this perforated pipe, and then you can take it outside the tunnel. Another thing that we can have is that membrane thing that I was talking about. So this is the photograph what you see. So in this drawing also there is a magenta color lining. So this is the membrane that I am showing over here. So it's made up of different kind of polymer which is able to resist the water pressure, and also it is waterproof obviously. So such kind of membrane, it is lined prior to the actual concrete lining. Okay. So this on the photograph on the left side what you see, so this is the way in which the formwork and then the lining is, or sorry, the membrane is provided, and the second photograph on your right, it is the finished work that once you finish applying the membrane, it looks something like this. Now once this membrane is installed, then the actual lining work it takes place. So if you see this drawing, now the part which is highlighted is this shaded black and red portion. So this is nothing but the actual concrete lining. So this is the formwork for that lining. Okay, and between this membrane and this formwork there will be concrete which will be filled. Okay. So the figure on your right side, what you see, figure number 2. So here you'll see exactly that what I'm talking about. So this is the thickness of your lining, what you see here. Okay. And this black portion, black and white portion, this is the membrane that we have installed in the previous case for waterproofing purpose. Okay. So in this way your membrane is fitted and then lining is done. And now once we install that membrane, so obviously that water whatever is there, the seepage, it will be collected at the bottom of your or at the invert level of your tunnel. So you have to be very sure that you will provide sufficient amount of openings in the invert level, so that the water can be collected from different locations and then it can be disposed of easily. So in this photographs, all these photographs what you see, so you have different pipes that are installed at different levels. So the first one on the top left, what you see, so pipes are installed at different levels, and the pipe which is at the lowest level or the lowest invert level, so all the water will be collected into this pipe and then it will be taken out and disposed of. So similarly the other photographs what you see, so I have encircled the pipes or the openings at different locations. So in this way you have to take care that if you are providing some waterproofing membrane at the roof and the walls of the tunnel, so whatever is the water which is going to seep into the tunnel, it should be provided a proper outlet, and that can be done through a proper drainage system in your invert level. So this is the photograph that while constructing your invert level or while going filling your invert level, what you can do is, again you can see it's a membrane kind of thing that has been laid, and then in this there will be filling, and once it is done it will look something like this over here. So they have filled the invert, and then you have this side pedestals, and then there will be some pipes in this area and also inside this filling of the invert. So this is all with the drainage of your tunnels. We'll stop here for today.